Okay, the teleport changes. A lot of people have strong opinions on these teleport changes. So I'll give you my rundown on these teleport changes real quick. Let's start off with top lane, okay? Now, you can't TP to a creep anymore. You can only TP to tower in the first 10 minutes, 14 minutes, right? So what do I think this will change for the lane itself? Well, I think top laners will still take TP because you get Unleash teleport at 14 minutes. So let's say there's a minion wave here, right? And I want to push in this minion wave. The two minion waves come together right now, right? Two minion waves come together, and the top laner just based, okay? He just went to base. Now, this top laner kills the creeps really quickly. Bang, 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 bang. And then you're left with one creep left, and you're trying to kill the last creep, okay? And then as you're about to kill the last creep, boom, he TPs on it, right? He TPs on the creep, and now you can't kill it. So now he TPs on the creep. Now you have to back off because you're going to lose the fight. And now what he does is, you have 6 creeps. Pog, let's go, man. He freezes it, and now you have to TP back as well.
Remember,
okay?
You can see your nose.
So now, he based first, but you have to match your TP, right? Does that make sense? You saw that a lot in pro play, where they would try to push the wave in as quickly as they could, but then there'd be one creep left, and then they TP on that creep, and then he'd have to back off, and now he has to TP back as well because he's freezing the wave, right? This was what used to happen with TP. So now you can't do this, right? So what can happen is if you base first now, right? So the top laner goes to base and he wants to TP back. He's going to TP on the tower. You can actually crash this wave. And if you crash this wave, then you don't actually have to TP back. You can just run back because the wave's crashed. He can't stop you from crashing the wave. So actually, what this does, TPing to tower over creep, actually rewards better play in lane itself. Okay? It rewards better play. It means you can't base first, freeze, and then force their TP. It means that you have to base second / get better trades. And then when they base and TP to tower, you can crash a wave. And what you're rewarded with by winning the lane is actually having TP advantage. Right? Now, you can't use that TP advantage very well. Another argument that a lot of people had was bot lane is going to be 2v2 only now. Ksa. Yeah? Bot lane meta might change because now you can't get TP'd on from behind, right? And it's true to an extent. To an extent, yes, it's true. Yes, you can't TP bot anymore. Yes, you can play more lane champs. But you can still TP the towers. Now, what does that reward if you can TP the towers? It rewards the team that's getting pushed in. Okay? So, they can't... If I was to TP to the tower, then obviously they can't TP to their tower because, you know, the reason you're TPing there is because they're pushing up, right? Or they're looking for a dive. Okay? So, what will change in bot meta? Well, you'll have pushing lanes, but you won't have as much diving lanes. Does that make sense, right? The only thing that can happen is both teams can cover dives. If there's 4 TPs in the game, they can only really be used to cover dives. That's it. They can't be used aggressively to dive anymore. The only team that can TP is the defending team. So there won't be as much dive bot lanes, right? If you're playing like a Nautilus lane or a Leona lane, diving bot maybe is going to be a bit changed because you can't dive bot with TP and force a 4v4 or something. And you can't dive bot with TP advantage because no one can TP anywhere. You can only really dive bot to force the enemy TP to help your top laner. That's it. So the only thing that's going to change in bot meta, I think, is it's not going to be as much aggro bots, but it's going to be pushing lane Ksa bots, right? Which can be Lux lanes, maybe Karma lanes. That's about it, I would say. Lux, Karma, some range support champs are stronger because you can't get TP'd on. But the value of these champs later on is very dependent on how well they do in the lane, right? If you're playing a Lux lane, let's play you're playing Caitlyn Lux into Jhin Leona, right? Now Caitlyn Lux gets the push, and there can't be any TPs. So in isolation, you're 2v2. Sure, you're gonna get the push, and you're gonna get them on the tower, and maybe you'll get a plate. But the value of Lux versus the value at Leona at 20 minutes into the game at a dragon fight, it's very Leona favored. Why? Because she's more of a teamfight champ, right? Lux is very good in lane, very good at setting up and all that shit. But if the game is even, right, and your Caitlyn, I wouldn't say so much the supports are even. I'd say more it's ADs are even, right? If your Jhin is 1-0-0 and this, I don't know, 250 CS or whatever, and Caitlyn is 1-0-0 and 280 CS, then, you know, it's not great. It's not great value out of the Lux. What you want to get from your Caitlyn Lux is you want to take tower in 13, 14 minutes max. You want to be up at least 30 CS when you leave lane. You want to be at least first to every play on river at least when you're on even tempo, right? If you base and they push out the wave, then of course they're first. But you see what I mean? You need to get value out of the Lux. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I don't think that the TP changes are that bad. I think it's fine. You know, it changes the first 14 minutes, right? You're rewarded more for good play top because you can't TP back to the creep and force their TP, right? When you're trying to push out the wave when they base first, right? Now you can push in the wave when they base first, make them TP the tower, base, and keep your TP. Perfect. So you've just won your lane. You know, you can use TP for your team. Later on, defend the dive, whatever it may be. You can even just TP back if you want to and you get nothing anyway. But it does reward more laning slightly.
Talk. Let's go, man.
Of course, you can't force dives as much if enemy has TPs, right? If your jungler comes bot and says, let's dive bot, when enemy mid and top have TP, it's a horror. What used to happen is you dive, and then if they TP, you match. Or you're first to TP, right? The jungler walks here, puts a ward, your top lane, mid lane TPs, it's a 5-man stack, and then they match, right? But now the only one who can TP is your own team, obviously. So you can't really force dives if they have TPs. So the game will be a little bit slower on the bot side of the map. And it rewards more pushing bot lanes, right? I mean, the game is just overall slower. And this applies to mid lane too. If there's a 2v2 going on in mid, obviously the top laners can't TP. The only place they can TP is here. So yeah, everything's kind of in isolation now. TPs become less effective, which does mean the game is a little bit less skilled because top lane, you used to have a lot of strats where you could have a really good plan as a jungler, where you could just do like blue, gromp, red, early gank top, get his flash, force him back, make him really low, lose all his potions, your top laner pushes out, crashes the wave, bases, runs back or something, and then the enemy top has to TP back to match his tempo. So in the first 4 minutes of the game, you have top TP advantage. Perfect. So if I have Jin Leona lane, for example, right, and they're getting pushed in against the Caitlyn Morgana, as a jungler, do I path bot level 3? Well, no, because they don't have much dive potential, right? What I would normally do is like maybe path top a little bit, try to get the enemy top killed, flashed away, or force out his potions to make it so he has to TP back early. He TPs back early, my top laner has TP advantage, and now they put a ward in bot, TP behind bot, game's over. You saw that in the top esports series when they were playing their Lux lanes. This is all you did. Jungler paths top, gets early top TP advantage, top TPs behind bot, bot loses, game's over, the Lux is out of it. Look what happens. You see that? This is exactly how TPs are used. Look, jungler goes top level 3 because his bot lane can't win 2v2, which means he has no push and your 3v3 is losing. So what does he do? Jungler goes top. Okay, we dive top, we kill Zoom. Perfect. He's dead. Now we base. Now what happens? Oh, Renekton has to TP to catch a wave. TP's mid or top to catch his wave. Oh, hey, guys. We path top, killed enemy top. Now we have TP advantage top. Oh, perfect. Now Zhaola, who's sitting in base, and he's like, oh, guys, they're pushing bot because they're playing Caitlyn Lux. I'll TP behind. TP behind. Everyone's dead. Job done. Happy days. And that's how the play basically worked. That's how TP worked in pro play. You had a lot of mind games going on, right? Where it's like, let's say you're a pro team right now, yeah? We're a pro team, and you have no information of what I'm going to do, and I have no information of what you're going to do, okay? You have Caitlyn Lux, and I have Jin Leona, right? So your bot lane wants to push. You're blue side, I'm red side. Now, I could start bot side, run top, get TP advantage, and make it so you can't win 3v3 bot because we have TP advantage, so it's 4v3, right? I could also not even path top in the first place. What I could do is I could just path bot and gank your bot lane while you try to path top to match my path top to stop your top losing TP advantage, right? So there's a little bit of mind games in pro game. So normally when you play with a pushing bot like Caitlyn Lux, it's very good to invade level 1. Walk in, drop a ward on their buff. If they start here, great, we have info. If they don't, then obviously we know what they're doing. Information in LoL it's a very weird concept where you can use it against the enemy team so easily. I'll give you an example right now. Of how I can use information against you. You're blue side. You're Caitlyn Lux. You walk into my jungle level 1 and you ward my red. Okay, cool. You ward my red. So now I start on red. I kill my red buff and you see me walk down. So now I'm out of your vision circle. Now you obviously know that I'm pathing into your Caitlyn Lux lane to try and win the 3v3 and cover my bot lane from dives so I'm not ganking top. Am I? Am I though? The only information you have was I saw me starting on my buff. So then I went to Raptors, and then I went around like this and did my Krugs. So now by the time you finish your blue Gromp Wolves, I've finished my red Raptors Krugs, and surprise, surprise, motherfucker, I'm ganking top. Gank top, get TP advantage, base, cover my bot camps. Boom. So now I've used your information against you. You thought that I was pathing bot, but actually I just ganked top level 3. He died because your whole team is saying I'm pathing bot, right? So this all comes down to teleport, right? The only reason you would do this is for TP, because you're losing jungle tempo and you have to save the bot side of the map. sometimes to win a lane, you have to win the other side of the map, right? Alternatively, if my top lane is losing, right? We'll ignore TP for a second here. My top lane's losing, he's getting shit on. Well, what I could actually do is run bot, help my bot lane get the push, then my support bases and comes with me to top, and we dive him when the wave's bouncing, right? Now top lane's over. So sometimes to win a lane, you have to go to the other lane. Now you might think like, wait, Caedrel, everything you just said is, it's all like, what's the word? Information is useless then, isn't it? Is information useless? Well, no. It's just that information is not concrete evidence, right? You don't have a map hack. You can have information, but you can't know for certain what's going to happen. And the good thing is, information can be used against you, right? If I know that my red buff's warded, I will start red on purpose to make you think that I'm pathing bot, but in fact I'm 3 camps wrapping around and ganking top. And Tarzan did this once in the LCK in 2019. And when he did this, everyone's minds were blown. Was it 2018, 2019 he did it? On Griffin. I think it was a Freak of Freaks game. I can't remember exactly. Summer split. Spring split. I think he was playing Sejuani. This was warded. Tarzan started here intentionally. And then he did red Raptors Krugs, ganked top, got TP advantage. And then his TP, top lane TP behind bot and ganked bot, game over. And this all comes down from just one plan. You having that single ward has just lost you the game, right? You just distort everything. That's what League of Legends is all about. So, yeah, just make sure when you're trying to improve at the game or you're trying to learn the game or whatever, talk about the game, information is never concrete, and you can always find why people do things based on what information people have, right? You knowing something is good, but if you know something and I know that you know that's something, then that's bad, right? If you know I'm starting red, but if I know that you know I'm starting red, then it's kind of fucked, right? So I don't want to blow your minds too much, but League is all a mind game. And that's what the mind game came from having teleport in the game. Because teleport was so important. It was one of those resources that I always talk about, right? Having vision is a resource. Having TP advantage is a resource. Having more summoner spells is a resource, right? The only resource in the game is not just gold. You can have a 1k gold lead in bot, but if I have double TP, then you're fucked. If I have vision here and here, and you're playing Caitlyn Lux, and you're trying to push, you're fucked, right? There's more resources to the game than just gold. Objective control, objective vision, TP advantage, summoner spell, whatever the fuck it may be, right? So basically what you've done is you've just taken away another one of those things that makes the game more dynamic in a way where you can find different advantages, right? So these are my 3 thoughts on TP. Game overall is slightly less skilled, but not the end of the world. Less complex. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it. We won't say less skilled, we'll say less complex. There's less factors to think about. The game is slower. Kinda. The last thing I'll say is, someone has said it in chat. Will this affect draft? Yeah, it will. I think it will affect draft. It will more so affect draft in bot lane, like I said, right? Range supports are a lot less punished, right? There's less ways to punish range supports, like I just said, right? The problem you have with a game in isolation, where if let's take an example here, where I just use my Jhin Leona example, right? Let's say you have I don't know, Jarvan, Caitlyn, Lux on blue team, yeah. And on red team you have Lee Sin, Jhin, Leona. Now in a straight up 3v3, obviously there's a lot of nuance to this. There's a lot of nuance. In a straight up fist fight 3v3, very dependent, Jhin Leona Lee Sin is slightly more favored, right? This is more CC, more setup, more everything, right? It's just better. The only thing Lux, Caitlyn, Jarvan has is it has really good face check if you get the setup, and it has more range. But if Leona ults on the Lux, she's stunned, ease in, whatever, Lux is one popped. By nature, melee supports are just overall better in skirmishes. But what makes Caitlyn Lux so strong? Well, if Leona is on her tower and she can't leave her tower because of these fucking traps, she has no vision here, doesn't know where enemy jungler is, she can never go in because, you know, she has absolutely no vision on the map and she's just getting perma-poked, of course the Caitlyn Lux wins, right? So how do you shut down a Caitlyn Lux? If I'm pathing bot as Lee Sin to my Jhin Leona, and enemy Jarvan is pathing bot to his Caitlyn Lux, it's not really a 3v3 skirmish. Because he's always going to be first to river, because his bot lane always has push, because they win 2v2. So they can never really come together and fight, to be honest. It's really difficult. TP was a way out of that, right? Like I just said, you path top, you get TP advantage, you use that TP bot, because Lux is not a very good champ at diving. So that takes away one of them. So now it's a bit harder to punish the bot lane who's just sack pushing. The only way you actually kill them is if they overstep, make a mistake, and jungle comes through lane at level 6 maybe. Leona like ults the Lux and jungle comes through lane, because it's very hard to get vision like here and the Lee Sin to walk like this. It's not going to happen in a pro game. But yeah, last thing I'll say is just harder to punish these pushing lanes. That's it.